The Intour project aims to fill the gap in the training system in Europe on accessible tourism. But what are the challenges in accessible tourism? We asked Intour project partners and stakeholders.
Inclusive tourism involves a variety of challenges, including the diversity of people with different impairments and the consideration of their specific needs.
All tourists need good accessibility when they're travelling. This means that buildings, transport, information and services need to be designed in such a way to meet the needs of visitors of all ages and abilities. Otherwise, tourism operators will lose customers and lose income.
Accessible tourism has to face several challenges depending on the structure or venue that consider. Probably what is really common is the lack of culture and knowledge about accessible tourism.
IAPA is a global association for the attractions industry, representing zoos, amusement parks, water parks and many other attractions. All of them are very diverse and unique, so it's very hard to find a common ground for a common policy.
The main challenge behind implementing a policy in terms of accessible tourism is to understand the customer journey right from the moment that the customer interacts with the hotel right through to the full experience that they have here, and minimising any barriers to anybody with accessible issues experiencing the most positive experience that they can have while visiting the clinic group.
What are the training needs in the sector?
Only about 10% of tourism providers in Europe have a business plan and the knowledge and skills to deliver accessible tourism services. And that's why INAT is working with Erasmus Plus partners across Europe to develop courses on accessibility for the whole hospitality sector.
Future professionals in the tourism sector need to be trained in social and communicative skills such as active listening, empathy, change of perspectives, and especially an awareness for the specific needs of the target group.
The team members know the specific needs of each attraction and what it needs to ride those. However, it is very difficult for them to see actually the special needs of certain customers or visitors, especially when we talk about thrill attractions where you can't foresee the reaction of certain people because it's not visible beforehand.
On my opinion, we need professionals able to analyze the content and services provided by a touristic venue and then design an action plan to implement equipment, procedure and training to become really accessible.
The training needs in the sector really rely on having our staff fully aware of the needs of our customers who may have accessibility issues. They may be fully empathetic with the circumstances behind any individual challenge that a person may have, and making sure that we look at each element and maximise the awareness that the staff have in terms of dealing with any customers with any particular issue.
What would you welcome in the future to further build the capacity of the staff working in accessible tourism?
For us as an international association, it would be great if there would be a guidance document and overview for our members on how to train them and also on how to react for those guests with special needs.
In the present COVID-19 pandemic, I would highlight the UN World Tourism Organization's new guidelines for businesses to explain how to carry out measures that will keep all customers safe without excluding people with disabilities and others with access requirements. So tourism can really be open and accessible for everyone, everywhere.
These practical guidelines for curbing the spread of COVID-19 with due regard for accessibility and inclusion within tourism can contribute to global efforts to reassure all visitors, benefiting tourists, businesses and destinations alike.
I think that raising attention among the touristic operator and setting up a community of practice between staff working on accessible tourism are two key factors that can lead to important results.
With this project, we would like to enhance intersectional cooperation between public institutions and the private tourism sector to gradually resolve limitations and to overcome barriers in our society.
We would welcome in the future support from both state and non-governmental organisations in terms of understanding the needs of our guests that may have accessible issues. We want them to have the best experience possible when they're coming to visit our properties, but also the wider destinations, to make the barriers to travelling to our area as minimal as possible and to have the best experience that they can while they're here. Those supports will be very valuable in terms of training our staff.
Stay tuned for more info on the Intour project.